1954. President Eisenhower has 3 secret meetings with aliens. Former Pentagon consultant claims President met with extraterrestrials on 3 separate occasions at New Mexico Air Base. Eisenhower and FBI officials organized the meeting by sending out telepathic messages. Eisenhower met with ETs, including the Anunnaki. It's a story that has circulated in and out of the UFO community for years. Did former US President Dwight D. Eisenhower have 3 meetings with extraterrestrials? How US President General Dwight Eisenhower sold out the human race in pact with rogue extraterrestrials. In addition to President Dwight David Eisenhower and other top brass, the Muroc airfield meeting with extraterrestrials on February 20 and 21 in 1954 was attended by a wise men group of 4 members of civil society, that is, those who are not politicians, intelligence agents, or members of the armed forces. All in their 80s, they were Gerald Light, a metaphysical scientist, Edwin Norse, a leading economist, James Francis McIntyre, Bishop and head of the Catholic Church in Los Angeles, and Franklin Winthrop Allen, a well-known journalist. Says exopolitics scholar Michael Sala, the 4 represented senior leaders of the religious, spiritual, economic and newspaper communities, and were advanced in age and status. They would certainly have been plausible choices for a community delegation that could provide confidential advice on a possible public response to a first contact event involving extraterrestrial races. The meeting was at once awesome and terrifying to most of the people present, who thought they had met supernatural beings and the world had come to an end. In a highly emotive letter to a confidant dated April 16, 1954, Gerald Light underlined his fear, shock and bewilderment in the following words: "I had a distinct feeling that the world had come to an end, with fantastic realism, for I have never seen so many human beings in a state of complete collapse and confusion, as they realized their own world had indeed ended with such finality as to beggar description." Sala, citing Charles Suggs, whose father, a former Navy commander, was present at the meetings, chronicles the proceedings thus: "I, along with others, met and spoke with 2 white-haired Nordics that had pale blue eyes and colourless lips. The spokesman stood a number of feet away from Ike and would not let him approach any closer. A second Nordic stood on the extended ramp of a biconvex saucer that stood on a tripod landing gear on the landing strip. These visitors said they had come from another solar system. They posed detailed questions about nuclear testing. Physically, the Nordics looked like humans, only they were larger in stature, about 7 to 8 feet tall. They spoke perfect, sweet-sounding English, but with an accent. The speech was conveyed rather mentally than verbally. There was a telepathic communication, Sala says. It's as though you're hearing a person, but they're not speaking. The technology they put on show defied belief. During my 2-day visit, I saw 5 separate and distinct types of aircraft being studied and handled by our Air Force officials, with the assistance and permission of the Etherians. When the aliens demonstrated their ability to become invisible, along with mental telepathy, everyone was terrified. The ability to disappear, an ability based on pure physics, not magic, and to communicate using thought, again something based on a mastery of biophysical science and not on a supernatural ability, was what made General Light characterize the aliens as Etherians. That is, people who do not dwell in this physical world, but can, in a flash, enter and leave it at will. Not all history is recorded and not all history is known. Hence, we will probably never know the full details of the day-long meeting between Ike and the Nordics. What we know for sure is that the Nordics warned Ike about the aliens, the Greys, who were orbiting the equator, that he should not have anything to do with them as they were a sinister race and would bring untold harm to both Earth and the human population. The Nordics in fact proposed an alliance with Earthlings, defied the Greys, and promised to help us in spiritual development. However, they insisted that an alliance with us would only be possible if the US and other countries on the Earth got rid of their nuclear weapons and other armament programs. The Nordics also offered Earthlings very advanced technology for the betterment, as opposed to the destruction of mankind. The Nordics offered to share their superior technology and their spiritual wisdom with Ike if he would agree to eliminate America's nuclear weapons, says Sala. They were afraid we might blow up some of our nuclear technology, and apparently that does something to time and space, and it impacts on extraterrestrial races on other planets. It was a no deal. Ike rejected the Nordic overture because he did not like the idea of getting rid of nuclear weapons. Apparently, he didn't trust the Nordics. What if it was a ruse? And all they were up to was to seize control of the planet eventually. The Nordics advised that Ike think the matter over again, and left. But not before they reiterated the warning: beware of the Greys.